Ari, a massive welcome to the Life on Purpose podcast.
Thank you, James. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for making the time, man. Your art is simply mind-blowingly inspiring, and I hope everyone that's listening today takes a moment to jump over to Instagram and follow you. I'll certainly be putting all your links and so forth in all of our posts, and your work's amazing. So I guess let's start from the start. Where did your passion? I would say, yeah, it's a passion. It looks like passion when I see what you do. Where did that passion begin for your artwork?
So the passion started when I was a child. When I was a kid, I was always sketching, and I don't know if I was that good. I was always like sketching like stick men, but I had a very, very intense imagination. So I used to actually play like, for example, like I'd play war games by sketching, So that's how it originally started. And what happened was when I would go, like I used to go have a very good friend of mine whose grandmother was an artist, and I think I must have been about 11 or 12, and I went to their house, and I used to see her art on the wall, and she was always like putting up new works, and she used to draw a lot of the human body, like she liked to draw nudes and all the some really cool things. And I saw the works, and what happened was when I was about 12, I got given a present, a book by a late South African artist by the name of Gerard Sokoto. I was given the book for my birthday when I was 12, and he was a South African black artist who grew up in the townships in apartheid South Africa, and he captured a lot of township scenes. When I got this book, I went through it, and I really loved the colors and how he used his how he sketched his daily life and what he was seeing out there. And today, I mean, he's one of the masters that have come out of South Africa, out of South African art. And then when I started like looking at his works, I would literally sit there, a little 12-year-old, I'd sit there with his book open with a little A4 piece of paper at my mother's desk, and I would sit and sketch, like try and copy his work,
Love it.
And then it moved from like sketching with pencil or pen, because those are like what I had in those days. My parents bought me a paint set, like a very basic one, and then it moved over like just like constantly just evolved. I started sketching with and painting with acrylic. And when I got to high school, I took up art as a subject from like grade 8, we call it in South Africa. And from grade 8 to my final year in school, I took art as a subject. And that's how it like evolved. And while I was even sitting in like maths class or English class or business, my teachers always used to complain because they'd always catch me sketching in my textbooks.
I love it.
As it's like growing up, I remember I was always sketching. When I was on holiday, I always had a diary or like a moleskin, and it was like it's my escape. It's like it's how I just relax and enjoy it.
That's amazing. I look at you as a master, and like when you look at people, you can just tell from their work, whether they're a musician or they're an artist, you can tell when they're a master of what they do. And mastery takes time. Like mastery is not something you download. There's no instant gratification. So when you look back on it, what were some of the sacrifices you had to make to actually become the artist that you are?
Okay, so when I look, I don't see myself as a master. I think I've still got so much to learn, and I'm learning new things every day. But I still actually see myself as a complete rookie, and I think that's very important, because we can always learn. And I meet artists all the time. I have guys that reach out to me, experienced artists, guys that are just starting out that want assistance, and I give them like tips, and I help out a lot. Artists that are up and coming and that are facing the same issues that I originally had. But my art progressed when I finished school. I said to my parents, like, what should I study? Obviously, it has to be something creative because that's my personality. So obviously, the discussion went down that art is not a great profession in terms of making a good living, especially if you're starting out. You can go study Bachelor of Arts at university. You come out of there and you're a professional artist. That doesn't mean you're going to like guaranteed to make a lot of money and being able to survive. So my parents kind of like directed me in a way to find another creative field that is something that I might enjoy. So I come from a family of property developers. They've always been inside real estate and architects and architecture. So I went and I studied interior architecture in Johannesburg. And with that course and degree, it opened up a lot of new fields for me because obviously it entailed a lot of sketching and creativity. Like my fellow students would use 3D software to kind of portray the space. I would hand sketch the space, you know, and hand-drawn renders, we call it in that field, are very unique, and guys that do that are in high demand in that industry because it's slowly starting to be taken over completely by technology and photorealism. And so that's how in university I was always still sketching, and on the side I always maintained my discipline in terms of when on weekends I would always put a canvas on my easel and I would paint or I would sketch. So it was always something that I did alongside while I studied, you know. So I finished my degree at university, and then I went on to work. I got headhunted out of university by a very, very well-known South African architect who wanted me to come and work from his head office in Cape Town. So I relocated to Cape Town, and I worked as an apprentice in his office. It was really cool because there was like some really, really dynamic and creative guys in that office. So I worked there for a year, and due to the family business needing assistance, I decided that I'll step in and help the family out. So I left the architectural realm and I went into a marketing realm in business environment. So I went and I did that. You know, I have an older brother who's an advocate, and he had no intention of getting involved in the family business, and it's just the two of us. So at the time, he was really established, and for me to go, I'm just starting out my life and my career. It was just more obvious for me to get involved in the business side, and I got involved in marketing for the business and building it. So, and on the side, I was still sketching, you know, always.
That was like a constant, like in the background, you were always going back to that.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't pushing it because it wasn't my main focus at the time. I was really busy, and also I was concentrating on the marketing element and branding and graphic design. And while I was now working in a marketing environment, I was learning new skills. So in terms of using graphic design programs, that in university we used them, but not to the level that I needed it at that time. So now I'm learning a whole new creative side. And I started working with a couple of the graphic designers in the business, and I learned from them. And, with the art and stuff, I was always, I would have like a piece here that I would sell, one to a friend, to a family. I'd give away as gifts.
Wow.
And that was like the really early days.
And then that's interesting as you talk about the marketing. It's when you're doing things, sometimes we don't realize why we're doing them. And then in hindsight, we look back. So the marketing that you ended up doing and the branding and stuff will obviously be helping what you're currently doing and your whole idea and approach to business, right?
Very much so. And that's why I say to people, don't fight the system. Don't fight where life is taking you, because you never know when you might need that. I'm learning, like I said, I learned so many valuable things that when I decided to go full time into art and to creating, it's opened up so many spaces, because the marketing, first of all, is helping me build my own business, which is my Ari Hersch studio, and all the graphic design work and stuff. I've kind of incorporated it into the Ari Hersch studio, so it's not just an art studio. I'm doing creative stuff. I'm building websites now. I'm doing so much stuff for so many people, and art is the main focus for me on it. But it's because of the skills that I've learned over the time, it's allowed me to almost like venture out.
That's amazing. And I think a lot of people do get very tunnel vision with what they're doing, not realize that, hey, all these other skill sets could combine to help me have a broader platform. So when you look at your art, you know, I think of artists and I think, okay, some artists make it real big and lots of artists struggle. So for you, what were your struggles and how have you got to this platform that you're at right now?
So my struggles starting out, obviously, because I was working in a full-time job and stuff, the time that's needed to start building up works for, like, for example, a solo show. And also, I think, you know, the art world is very funny. It's controlled mainly by galleries, and it's a very difficult space, especially if you're breaking out, because there's not many galleries and stuff that are willing to give new artists a chance. And they'll say to you, listen, go out, get some experience, and then come and speak to us. But how are you supposed to get that experience if the galleries aren't willing to give you that experience? So when I started out, you know, I showed my work to a lot of galleries. They loved the works, but they said to me, look, you don't have enough of a following of buyers that are already buying your work, which obviously I'm literally just starting out in my career, and that's the reason why I'm coming to speak to you, so that we can build something together. But that's how galleries work. That's their business model. You know, they'll come in with certain elements, and the artist must come with also almost like have his own clientele that will buy, you know. So when I started out, that was obviously, and it's never easy going in and you getting told that your work's cool, but it's just, you know, I'm not at that level yet. So it can be discouraging. And often you like get back and you think like, what am I really like doing this for? Thank God I wasn't relying on it for my main income. Otherwise, I think I would have starved. But I literally like phoned up a friend who was like an art dealer at the time. And I said to him, look, this is the goal. I want to try to build this business on the side of my main career. And he said, cool, like I've got this cool space in Maboneng precinct, which is it's an area in Johannesburg that was kind of like redeveloped. And he had like a cool gallery space. And he said, come, let's put up your works. We'll show you. And I put up about 10 works at the time. It was like charcoal works. And managed to sell out that show like over a weekend. Yeah. It was quite cool. It was really cool. But still, it's not enough to go to like the top galleries where you know you're going to get a good name, because you also, as an artist, want to be associated with those really nice galleries and stuff. And you know, I come from a background where I just don't give up, so I'm just going to make it work, you know. And I think with my marketing background and stuff, like about 5 years ago, I decided like I needed to take this more seriously. So I created like my own Instagram page, created a Facebook profile for my art. And we slowly started to grow the brand and grow my own. I used my own skills to kind of promote myself, you know. And it was only then when I started to build up a solid following that I went to a certain gallery, and they're really cool guys, and they gave me an amazing opportunity. And I signed with them. I signed with them in Johannesburg, and I had solo shows with them. And just let me go back. With my mate that had that space for me in Maboneng, he also organized like really cool to take up like a space at these big expos, like the Johannesburg Turbine Art Fair, and I always had works up and that were getting sold. So it was cool on the side. And then after I saw there was a demand for my work, I decided you know, I got to start looking at this more seriously. You know, follow my passion and dream and build it, you know.
That's amazing. I hear like persistence. I hear vision. I hear like getting clarity on who you are. It's when I talk to any high performer, whether they're an athlete or they're a global leader, artist, these things keep coming up, like these patterns. And it's funny because I came across your stuff totally organically on Instagram, and I've been studying Nelson Mandela for quite some time now. And I was like looking at hashtags around Mandela, like just to get some images that I enjoyed, and boom, your work came up. I was like, this is insanely awesome. And I don't know how to describe your work. So how would you describe your work? To me, it's just very unique. But what inspires you? How would you describe the niche of the work that you do?
So I can't describe my work like in terms of like one word, because I'm constantly evolving. Actually, if you had to see what I'm producing now opposed to what I was producing 2 years ago, it's completely changed. And the reason why it's changing and why it's evolving is because I've been introduced to so many new techniques and mediums. You know, like before last year, I was a complete traditionalist. I refused to touch any Apple Pencil or draw on an iPad, and you know, I had to feel the piece of paper and have. I love Apple Pencils.
Me too.
And before that, I had to feel the charcoal in my hands, because charcoal was like a medium that I really enjoyed. And a good friend of mine, who's an illustrator, said to me, "You need to try this. You need to really give it a go," because like you can see, I'm like just using up moleskin diaries and just filling them up and just sketching. And eventually, like, what happened was I immigrated last year, and when I immigrated, it was at the start of all the lockdowns worldwide, and all my equipment was in a container stuck in a ship in Durban, and it took about 6 months for all my gear to arrive.
Wow.
So I did have an Apple Pencil because I was using it like briefly, and here's my Apple Pencil.
Yes, love it. Oh, yours is supercharged.
Yeah, I've just got a nice silicone cover on it. But so when I was in this position where I had no gear and stuff, I obviously had this huge release to start creating new works. And I started sketching on my iPad because I had nothing else. And at first it was very difficult for me because it's like working on like a slippery screen, and you know, you're getting used to all the new brushes. And after, I swear, like 2 weeks, it was amazing. It opened a completely new world for me. And because it's so powerful that it allows you to express a lot more, where I feel like sometimes on a piece of paper, you can be sometimes a bit suppressed, you know, and limited. But my technique has changed with the mediums that I use, because obviously there's certain things that, for example, my charcoal works, I still try and sketch. I still sketch physically, and I still have a studio that I put works up, and I still work on that stuff. But now with my iPad and stuff, I'm literally going, sitting on a train and sketching.
That's awesome.
I can produce a work that can be made into about 4 meter work, you know, and produced into a 4 meter, 3 meter work. So it's amazing. Yeah. So my work is constantly evolving, and my subject matter as well.
That's incredible. And so the whole COVID situation forced you to go down a different route. Now you're seeing possibilities. So let's talk about that, because I've been following closely with some of what you're doing with the NFT sphere. So the non-fungible tokens, right? Am I right with that?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about what you do with that and where you see that going.
So I'm no expert with NFTs. I've literally just dived into the deep end, and I'm learning new things about it as well. I've also hit brick walls in that space as well, even though it's brand new. But you know, because I started sketching digitally, you know, the works, NFTs, are basically digital art that you kind of sell. You sell as if it's a physical artwork. And what happened was, last year I got contacted by a guy who's very well known in that space, and he said to me, "Look, your work needs to be made into NFTs." I'm like, "What are NFTs?" He's like, "Look, I'll do it with you. I'm on this journey as well, so we'll work on it together." You know, he's very business orientated, and I said to him, "Cool. You know, I'm the creator. I've got business knowledge as well, but you know, 2 heads are better than one." And we literally embarked on that journey. I released a few NFTs on various platforms. Some of the platforms were good, some of them weren't good. And in terms of when I say they're good and that, people underestimate. You have to actually spend money in order to make it, because it doesn't cost you zero to mint an NFT, you know. So it costs you. You have to mine it, and yeah. So I ended up actually putting a lot of money into it in the beginning, and you end up spending a lot of money in order to make money, and the one platform wasn't working for us. But I've got some exciting news that in a week or two, I've just signed a deal with one of the biggest platforms in the world called crypto.com. And, they very, very select on which artists they work with, which is cool. So I see
That's
them.
exciting. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. So I'm having my first drop with them actually on the 4th of August. And that's what I've been working on. So they basically they like my exclusive gallery signing, that I'm working with. And I'm very excited to see what comes out of that. They're a well-known platform. And let's see.
Good luck. I'm super excited. I'll be tuning in for that. And everyone that's listening, I'll make sure that this episode goes live around that time so that people can come and check it out and be a part of that journey.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's epic. I love it. And if we take a look at your life, because I always find people who are creative. So I'm a drummer. So I've drummed since I was 8 or 9 years old and very passionate about music. But I find that creative people often are deep thinkers as well. So when you think about your life, what gives your life meaning?
So what gives my life meaning? Definitely my family is everything to me. Definitely after this whole year, it's made me realize that how important your family members are. And I haven't seen my family in more than a year. I have a niece that I haven't met yet in person, but thank God for Zoom. And so my family gives me meaning. And obviously I'm driven, and my goal gives me meaning. My goal to succeed. I'm not saying succeed financially, to succeed in life, to make sure that I'm doing what I love. That gives me meaning. To wake up every morning and do my bed and get up and come and sit down and be able to sketch and do exactly what I love and to make money from it. That's just the bonus, that's just the cherry on the top. Just to be able to do that gives me meaning to get up every day.
That's powerful. And when you're hitting brick walls, you're having tough days, do you have any strategies or habits that you go to that help you to reconnect and open up again? So
for me, look, I don't necessarily talk about my stresses to anyone. I keep I would say very closed. But I like to get out. I go hiking a lot. I like to have my own time away that I can think about things. It's very important that you have mentors in your life, that you're able to maybe bounce ideas off, people that you respect and can have a conversation with and ask them opinions that will add value. And it's very important that they're people that have also failed. Mm-hmm. I think everyone's failed, but it's the way that they dealt with their failure. So, I like to. First of all, for me, I go to sleep at night and I wake up the next morning and I'm recharged. Doesn't matter what happened the day before. I could have had the worst day. It's crazy. My wife always says to me, she doesn't know how I do that, because like some people will stay up the whole night and it will let them worry them, But I literally go to sleep. The next morning I wake up and it's like nothing happened the next day, the day before,
That's
and
great.
I just tackle it like as it comes. If it's in our power to control it, we control it. And we
mentality.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a gift, because I don't know how many people are able to deal with their stresses like that. And look, when people also when you hit those brick walls, you might think it's the end, and you might think, sure, I can't believe it. What do I do now? I need to maybe stop doing what I'm doing. I don't think you should ever stop doing what you're doing. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign that you need to learn something from it, and just take it and see what you can do with it.
Great advice. And we talk about mentors. So do you have mentors in different areas of your life, not just say in your creative and your professional life? Do you have different mentors?
Yeah, I've got, and like I said to you, like in life, you never know what and why you're on those particular journeys. Because, like I said, I've met so many amazing people on my journey to where I am now. That from even when I worked for the architectural firm in Cape Town, my boss and mentor there will always be someone that I respect. And he built up also an amazing architectural firm. He's a lecturer at Columbia University in New York. He's he's a dynamic individual. So like he was a very, very solid figure and someone to look up to and to almost. And then there's others. My mother is very successful in business, so I speak to her a lot, and she's a very good sounding board. And my wife as well. My wife is actually a very, very good sounding board.
It's important to have that. I think when you look at successful leaders, they don't just go it alone. They've got a great team. They've got great coaches, mentors. And I'm glad you reinforced that someone at your level is continuing to seek that counsel from good sources.
Yeah, no, it's very important. If you've got friends that doesn't mean they have to be CEOs of big companies, they could be working in a job and still have very, very good lessons that they could teach, and that's very important. But mentors and coaches are great. If you can find good people to give you good, solid, sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes they'll say to you, look, I don't know what you're doing, or you're definitely on the wrong path. And you might feel like, hey, I can't believe you said that to me. But, sometimes you need to really go back, think about what they said, and maybe look at it from other people's angles, because definitely helps. It definitely helps.
100%. Great advice. And for people out there who want to connect with your work, so let's say there's someone out there who's young, but they love your work and they want to kind of get started on the journey of supporting you, but being, buying your work. Where can they start? Where do they go to find your work?
So, look, they can connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram. I get a lot of artists that message me on social media. I try to reach out to every single one of them and just give them some advice. It's been very difficult for me to meet a lot of them in person. I've got a huge following still in South Africa, so a lot of my base is based there, and I'm not in the country anymore, so it's very difficult for me to meet them in person as much as I'd love to and sit down with them and actually see where they are, because like I said to you, I can learn from them as well. And like it's very important. Like I had a guy ask me the other day, he's working a job, his passion is art, and he wants to be an artist. So I said to him, well, have you studied anything or have you done anything? He said to me, no, but I'd like to study something. I said, I think it's very important, go study something, if it's art, study art. If it's graphic design. So we actually had a discussion. He said to me, no, actually he's looking to study graphic design. So I'm trying to now help him out and decide which college or which university he would like to study at. And I said to him, look, I explained to him how the art world works and how difficult it is. And I think it's very important that you can have multiple strengths that you can fall back on if one doesn't work out. Like I said to you, I've got an interior architecture degree that I could always just jump back into that. I've got years of marketing experience that I could also utilize. So I'm now in a position that I can concentrate on my art because I still have the comfort of knowing that maybe, if it doesn't work out, I can just do something else. And when I hear people that I know that are not in a financial or do not have the financial ability to sit and sketch every day and to kind of stress and do that all the time, I kind of like advise them, just try to find something else that you can earn a good income, that you can provide food and a roof over your head, and sketch on the side. We can always find time to do that. And if you're sketching on the side, you never know if you're working in a job, you're meeting people all the time. Say to them, this is my work, check it out, And that's how I also grew. I grew my business. I was often sitting in board meetings with other service providers that used to provide the company with services. and I'd say to them, guys, I'm an artist, check out my work. They'd look at it like they couldn't believe it. So
that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's some of the best advice I've ever heard, because I know that in the creative world, music and artist, you're often in your mind, you think, I just got to go all in. I'm going to go all in on this, and I'm going to have no plan B. But actually, what you're saying makes so much more sense. And when I talk to any elite athletes, like some of the All Blacks rugby players I was chatting to, they were saying, like, most of us have degrees. Most of us have went to university and got degrees. Or whilst we're doing our elite sports, we're studying a degree on the side. Or we've got a farm that we've bought a farm and we've got that as a backup. So I really love hearing that. I think more people should hear that you can do your passion thing on the side, but also integrate it like you did, bring it along at the boardroom and get a bit of exposure to what you do. That's great advice.
Sure. I couldn't believe it. Most of the people, when I used to say to them, this is my art, they were like, wow, where can we see it? And then that just opens up other doors.
100%. Anytime I show your artwork to anyone, they're always like, wow, like mind blown, because it is unique and there's a signature to what you do. You've got a brand about your art and it's very unique. So yeah, you've got something special going on.
Yeah, that's my goal, to grow the brand around the art, and we'll see where it can go. I'm looking at certain things, maybe in fashion. Who knows? Let's see.
There's no ceiling operating above you, man.
Yeah, I don't see any ceilings,
That's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, there's one last question I always like to ask anybody that jumps on the show. And that question is, for you, what does living life on purpose really mean?
Life on purpose, sure. Like we said, have meaning, and make life enjoyable. Try see the good in the bad, and when you're an old man or old woman, you want to look back at it and have zero regrets. I think don't have regrets, even if it wasn't something that you expected. Just try and look at everything as a lesson, and
that's great advice. And I love your perspective on life. And I know that you guys are obviously preparing to have an addition to your family. So I want to wish you nothing but the best in the coming months.
Thank you.
I'll be following closely by.
We're very excited about it. It's my first child.
Oh, mate, it's going to be amazing. You're going to be a great dad. You're obviously very present in your life and very thoughtful. So you'll make a great dad.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for taking the time to connect. And as I say, everyone that's watching and listening, please go and check out Ari's work. I'll put all the links to your website and your Instagram, get people coming to check your stuff out. It's simply incredible. So I'm honored to have spent some time with you. And I look forward to one day actually connect with you in person once COVID permits.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
That'll be awesome. Hey, Ari, thanks a million.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed the content today, please smash that subscribe button below. And if you want to become part of my community, I've got an amazing free Facebook group. Please come and join us. The link is in the description below. And also, if you've got any questions about today's session, I'd love to know. Just comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you guys. Have the most amazing day.